thank you for this invitation. I have had a wonderful time listening to you all. Like Rodrika before me, I would like to talk about my father. Long time ago, when I was finishing school and wondering what to do with life, even at that time, I think young people were depressed by what was going on in the world. For example, there was a lot of acid rain in Eastern Europe that was destroying forests, scare of nuclear war. And I said to my father, is it worth studying anything? Because the world is going to be destroyed anyway. And my father replied, what if not? What if not? And now when I listen to you, I am glad I have done a degree, not in environmental sciences. I'm an English teacher, but like we've said, we need each other. You need me, I need you very much. And I've heard from you that there are solutions. And so it's been great to hear what can be done. So why am I here talking about Finnish education? Well, maybe because we have so much water in Finland, thousands of lakes, most of them fairly clean now, but not always. You might know, and as you can see in the picture, we have a lot of forest in Finland, also a lot of paper industry. So we managed to do a pretty good job in polluting a lot of the lakes. But thanks to the environmental movement and thanks to education and technical solutions, they are cleaner now. But we are having to look into these issues. And where is Finland? Just to put it on the map. So up in the north, and I tried to draw the Arctic Circle. And this is important because if you come to Finland, it's going to be very dark for a very long time. Right now, it's very light. But anybody coming to Finland looking for a job or place to check out whether you want to be educated, come in November when it's not very nice. And then you get the reality check and you get to see what it's really like. And you can see politically where we are right next to Russia. We were part of Finland and then an autonomous part of Russia. And now we have been independent for over 100 years. And that time of being autonomous part of Russia was very important because the Tsar used Finland as a sort of playground to try with railways and telephone lines. And those are some of the reasons why Finland is doing pretty well now, because some money and technical solutions were invested in the country. And nowadays, we are very proud to be a country governed by women at the moment. So our Prime Minister Sanna Marin here at the front and some of her colleagues. And exciting goals. Finland should be carbon neutral by 2035 and carbon negative soon after. And often we hear people say here in Finland, well, why should we care? If we get ourselves sorted, we are such a small entity in the world. It doesn't save the planet. But I think this is where education comes to play, because if we find solutions or Moldova finds solutions, then we can export them and we can save the world. And being a small country also has the advantage that you don't have a bad history. And so you've got less baggage and people like to listen to you. So I think that is something Finland even though it's a big area, still the population has been small, and we are one of the small countries. Well, this is a claim that we hear often when people apply to do, say, to do a master's degree in our University of Applied Sciences. In their motivation letter, they often say, Finnish education is the best in the world. But I would query this. When I read this sentence, I feel, oh, give me a break. Tell me, why do you think Finnish education is best in the world? We come up high in some statistics, but it's pretty easy to be high when you have a country where most people have got a very similar background. I think already in Moldova, you have many more different types of people. And just because of geography, you have many influences. Finland has been a bit more isolated, so it's kind of easy to tell people to change or to work in different ways. So if you will come and you will tell us Finnish education is best in the world, do some research and some thinking and tell us why, because that is just a sentence. You can say these things. And I would say the Finnish education can be the best ever for you if you make it work for you. You can't get good grades in Finland unless you do some of your own thinking. And again, the history explains some of this. Two things. This is now my interpretation of why it seems that we are pretty successful with education. One is that when the educational system was established in Finland, the teachers were given two things. They were given a reasonable pay, so they knew that they can make a living. I know that in many countries where you teach, you can't make a living with teaching. So of course, then you don't have time to develop. And the other thing was the Finnish teachers were given more or less complete freedom in the classroom. And again, I know that in many countries you are told you have to teach in this particular way. But when you don't tell teachers that, the teachers will think, how will these people that I'm working with learn? And then that gives them freedom to try things out and to develop. So that's why. And then if a young person does get interested, well, if you are outside the EU, you now have to pay quite a lot of money to be a student, which if there's a will, there's a way. You can raise that money somehow. The way our system works, you will feel confused most of the time because the Finnish system doesn't give you answers, but says go and find out and talk to other people. Now, just like previously, we heard you can learn the Czech language. In Finland, you would probably study in English. You can study in Finnish or in Swedish as well. But that can be sometimes hard when you can't use a language that's not your own. And then we force you to learn some Finnish as well. And they say Finnish is the language of heaven because it takes an eternity to learn it. So not a fun language to learn, but it's a fun language when you learn it. And then if you study in Finland, you will be in an international group, and that means basically conflicts because people have very different ways of working. But that's in a way the beauty of it, because if you spend 4 years having all these problems, then you can enter working life and tell your employer, I've been working, I've been clashing with other cultures, and I've found ways to deal with it. Whereas somebody who just studies in their own country, and they have to learn that in the working life. one thing that makes us a little bit amused in Finland, we seem to often come up in studies that study happiness, and we are told that we are the happiest country. And we sort of look at each other and say, did you know that we are happy? Because when you live up in the north and it's dark and it's cold, I think traditionally you didn't survive if you weren't relatively serious, and if in the summer you didn't get ready for the winter. So many Finnish people have very serious genes. But if after all this you're still interested and you think, okay, Finland might be the place, then I would think, ask yourself this question. So there is the saying, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And today I think we've heard presentations about being part of the solution, and I can sort of feel over the internet a desire to make the world a better place and to find solutions. And you've talked about technical solutions, political solutions, educational solutions. There are also solutions that we maybe don't think about. And if you know that you want to be part of the solution, if you have that passion, then you need education. If you want to do something for the environment, we've heard the issues are so complex that you do need education. And if you want that education to be here up north, we do offer bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhD degrees. And here I'm using the Finnish system. I am not telling you where they are, but I'm saying, okay, go and find out. Go to the internet, find out where they are, and do your own research. But if you are interested and somebody you know, a young person is interested, I would give this recipe. Work on your English, because I guess for some years to come, English is still the language we use, not because it's the best language for education, for political reasons, it's the lingua franca. If you come into Finland, work on your Finnish a little bit as well. And whether you want to work in policies or education, or definitely in education, in engineering, in all of these, you need maths, physics, and chemistry. Even if you're interested in being a policymaker, you need to understand the basics of physics and chemistry to understand the environmental issues, the complexity, and the solutions. And don't come to Finland if you want answers given to you. We don't do that. We want you to ask questions. Look at your surroundings and ask, why is this like this? Or how could it be made better? How could I solve these problems? And now that you can work online, taking part in seminars like this, they are always inspiring and give you the basic understanding. And this applies to Finland or any other country. The product that educational institutions offer you is their curriculum. So get to know the curriculum. If you get interested, for example, environmental engineering, go and find the university and actually look at the courses. In Finland, we've got a way of telling students what are the learning goals of each course. So you can check and say, do I want to reach these learning goals? Is this what I want to do? And sometimes we get students who've come because somebody told them the education in Finland is good and it's an EU country or whatever. Then we give them maths, physics, chemistry, and they say boring. And what can we say? We say, well, this is what we promised to give you. And then ask more questions and ask to talk to students who are in the system. Because I was invited by one of the students in Finland, I guess we have something to offer from people in Moldova. But to know the curriculum then gives you the security, and then you are not disappointed. And I put this image of water because this is how I feel education works, that we do something and there are a lot of ripples, and hopefully this is clean and healthy and purified water that we are using. And one website, if you remember the words education and Finland, you can find this portal that will take you further. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for all the arguments, for all the reasons and justification that you provided, so that an eventual student from Moldova would be interested to study in Finland in the field of environmental protection. But I would like to put a question: among all the reasons and arguments and the reality of studying in Finland, in particular when we speak about the environmental protection, what would you suggest? What would you tell a future potential student who is still like weighing, balancing and thinking, so that Finland is a country so where he or she would like to go and study that particular area? So maybe he or she might have some other options why he or she should go to Finland. So what would be the strongest argument? Maybe it's a personal, maybe it's subjective ground why he or she should go to Finland. He wants to go to Finland, but he's maybe lacking one final argument. What is that final argument?
Yes, when I was listening to Peter Hartwig talk, I thought there is nothing better than a German engineer. So if somebody wanted to become a really good engineer, I would send them to Germany. But I think what we have got is we are very equal. So we are in first name terms. So our students call us with our first names, Taru, and Finnish teachers have to earn their respect. So you are not respected because you are a university lecturer. You at least the Finnish students come and they want you to activate them and they will challenge you. So I think this is what I like. It's hard that I have to earn the respect of my students, but it does make the learning more exciting because we are all learning together. So that would be my personal answer.
Thank you very much, Madam Owston, because you've intrigued us. It's actually like you've invited us to come to Finland, to visit Finland, maybe of curiosity, maybe of something else, but that's a very good place to get first-hand impression from Finland, going to Finland. And thank you very much for intriguing and motivating us. And we would like to wish you a very good academic environment, a very friendly one for the students, a very challenging one, and with a lot of good possibilities for the future generations from all the countries that would contribute to the environmental protection, both in Finland and in all the countries of the world. Wish you a very good day.